Let's go now to Washington, where members of the Congressional Black Caucus, we actually just spoke about this. They're talking about that very issue, voting rights. Let's listen in.
Of fighting for, debating, and yes, winning, and that is voting rights. So it is no secret or surprise to you today when we say the fierce urgency of now, voting rights. We are calling on the Senate to vote. We're calling on the Senate to have that debate because we want to pass the John R. Lewis Voting Rights Advancement Act. We want to pass the Freedom to Vote Act. We know how much we have fought for. Yesterday, I was proud to join President Biden and Vice President Harris in a place of profound civil rights and voting rights history to advocate for the most foundational, sacred thing that I can think of. It makes me emotional. When I think of, as a Black woman, I must stand here today before you, asking us to do something that the past 5 presidents have done and 4 white Republican presidents: reauthorize the Voting Rights Act. So the real question you should ask yourself is what happened? What happened with this last president that got us to where we are today, that my colleagues will not stand up and pass the Voting Rights Act? Is it because we win? Is it because we vote? That is what you should ask yourself. Let me end by saying that the president made it very clear. Where do you stand? Do you stand with Dr. Martin Luther King or George Wallace? Do you stand with John Lewis or Bill Clinton? Do you stand with Abraham Lincoln or Jefferson Davis? We stand here. Civil rights leaders, advocates, legislators, lawyers. We stand here fighting for the people. And so today, I'm going to bring several members up. And we're going to do something a little different. We're going to do the floor house 1 minute for you, with the exception of our leader and majority whip, Clyburn. And then I'm going to ask my members to join me. Birthday lady, Congresswoman Sheila Jackson Lee, will join me at the podium. Former chair of the CBC, and good to have our good friend Fume back, will join us to help address questions. With that, Congressman James Clyburn.
Thank you very much, Madam Chair. I want to surprise you with this. I don't think there is any issue more emotional with members of the Congressional Black Caucus and our constituents than the issue of voting. I don't believe there's any group of people other than the Congressional Black Caucus and our constituents that are really practical when it comes to the political process. No group is any more practical than we are. And that is why when we sent the For the People Act, H.R. 1, and the John R. Lewis Voting Rights Act, H.R. 4, over to the Senate, and we saw significant reticence on the part of various senators, when Senator Joe Manchin of West Virginia expressed support for the People Act, except that he had some misgivings about parts of it. So when he decided that he could put together legislation that he thought would be bipartisan, and he proposed what he called the Freedom to Vote Act. Every member of this caucus lined up in support of it, demonstrating the practicality of the political process. So the Freedom to Vote Act is not our bill. We agreed to support Senator Joe Manchin's bill. So that's what this bill is. And we are finding some real issues trying to figure out why is it that when we decided to support his bill, he seems to be supporting a filibuster of his own bill. That to us is very disconcerting. Finally, I think that all of us in the Congressional Black Caucus are very understanding of our history. The 13th Amendment freed the slaves. The 14th Amendment gave us rights of due process and equal access. But it was the 15th Amendment. It took another amendment to the Constitution to give the newly freed slaves a right to vote. That amendment passed on a straight party line vote.
Yes.
So we take exception, grave exception, when anybody tells us that legislation cannot have credibility unless it is bipartisan. You're saying to us that the 15th Amendment is without credibility. So we're asking all of our friends, inside and outside the Congress, to be careful with that. That's not what history teaches us. And I'm pleased to yield to Chairman Jeffers.
Thank you, Mr. Whip. Thank you, Madam Chair, for your leadership, to all the members of the Congressional Black Caucus. The right to vote is precious. The right to vote is sacred. The right to vote is central to the very integrity of our democracy. You can't have a government of the people, by the people, and for the people unless every single American has the unfettered ability to choose their representatives and fully participate in American democracy. The voter suppression epidemic that has been unleashed by the radical right is unacceptable, unreasonable, unfathomable, unconscionable, and un-American. We must crush it, and we will crush it. That is why it's essential, it's important, it's necessary, with the fierce urgency of now, to pass the Joe Manchin Freedom to Vote Act and the John Robert Lewis Voting Rights Advancement Act. By any means necessary, including reforming a filibuster rule that is dripping in racist history in defense of slavery and Jim Crow. On this issue, make no mistake, when it comes to the protection of the voting rights of every single American, we shall overcome.
Last week, we marked 1 year since insurrectionists stormed the U.S. Capitol to overturn a Democratic election. In the weeks before the attack, some Republicans made despicable, false claims against voters in my state of Nevada. But they failed. Their insurrection failed. And in the years since, Nevada has made protecting voting rights our sacred mission. Today, the Congressional Black Caucus is here to use our power and our message to call on our Senate colleagues to protect the freedom to vote. Seize this moment. Pass the John R. Lewis Voting Rights Advancement Act. Pass the Joe Manchin Freedom to Vote Act. Guarantee safe, secure, and free elections for all Americans. The world is watching us, and now is the time to stand up for our democracy.
Hi, I'm Congresswoman Terry Sewell, and I proudly represent Alabama's 7th Congressional District, which includes the historic civil rights cities of Birmingham, Selma, and Montgomery. It was in my hometown of Selma 56 years ago where John Lewis and the foot soldiers shed blood on a bridge for the equal right of all Americans to vote. But as we know, old battles have become new again as state legislatures across this country erect deliberate barriers to the ballot box, trying to silence a certain group of people. These new laws may not require us to count how many jelly beans are in a jar, but modern-day voter suppression is no less pernicious. Yesterday, I was honored to join President Biden and Vice President Harris and our Madam Leader of the Congressional Black Caucus, Joyce Beatty, as the President spoke of an urgent need to protect the sacred right to vote. I applaud the President for being unequivocal in his statement that by any means necessary, we must change the rules in the Senate and pass the John Robert Lewis Voting Rights Act. Our nation is at an inflection point. Voting right legislation will go to the Senate floor, and it must pass. You know, we're on the anniversary, the cusp of the Martin Luther King celebration day, Monday. But there can be no celebration without liberation, without freedom, without the right to vote. As we prepare to observe the birthday of Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King, let us remember that justice delayed can be justice denied. The time to act is now. Nothing is more fundamental to our democracy than the sacred right to vote. The time to talk is over. It's now time to act.
My name is Colin Allred, represent Texas's 32nd District. I'm proud to be here with my colleagues in the Congressional Black Caucus, but I'm also a former voting rights lawyer. I can tell you, we knew when we'd go into court, there'd be some judges that we weren't going to get a good ruling from. We knew that the courts might not be on our side, but we always had the law. We had the Voting Rights Act. We don't have that protection right now. And we know that it's not going to be the courts that are going to protect our rights right now. It's going to have to be us in the Congress. And so the Congressional Black Caucus is coming together today to say to the United States Senate that there is nothing more important after our Capitol was attacked by people trying to overthrow our democracy, after a rash of laws have passed across this country to try and make it harder for certain Americans to vote. In the state of Texas, where it was already the hardest state in the country to vote, they just went and made it harder. That now is the time to act. That believe us when we just tell you. I've spoken to voters who've been disenfranchised. I can see the light go out of their eyes, the belief in our democracy leave them. We have to restore our democracy, and this is the time. We cannot let a Senate rule that is based and was used almost exclusively to prevent civil rights, prevent us from rising to this moment. I know all of us in the Congressional Black Caucus will do everything we can, but we're calling on the United States Senate, and we're calling on a few senators in particular to rise to this moment. Pass your own bill, Senator Manchin. Pass the John Lewis Voting Rights Advancement Act. Give us the tools to rescue our democracy, and let the chips fall where they may in the next elections. Thank you.
I'm Val Demings, representing Florida's 10th Congressional District. We are the home of the brave, land of the free, the greatest nation in the world. But we are here today to hold America to its promise. I stand today remembering my parents. My father was a janitor and my mother a maid. My dad used to go to work 7 days a week to make ends meet for our family, but I cannot remember a time that my parents did not cast their vote. They saw it as their civic duty. My parents understood that their vote, while they didn't have a lot of money, their name was on no buildings, their name wasn't famous, people didn't rise when they walked into the room, that their vote mattered. And it mattered just as much as the richest man or woman in town. We can talk about health care, we can talk about civil rights, we can talk about women's rights, we can talk about Social Security, Medicare, education. But all of it is at risk. All of it. Everything that you care about, regardless of your party, and everything that we care about is at risk if we do not protect the right to vote. We're not going anywhere. We're dang on sure not going back. We will use every tool within our power to protect the precious, sacred right to vote.
Good afternoon. I'm Joe Neguse, representing the great state of Colorado. And as Representative Sewell reminds us, in just a few days, tens of millions of Americans will commemorate Martin Luther King Jr.'s birthday. And of all of the insightful things that Martin Luther King imparted us with here in his time as Earth, there's one quote that's always resonated with me, and I suspect some of my colleagues, which is that the time is always right to do what is right. The time to safeguard voting rights, to protect voting rights, and to advance voting rights is now. Not next year, not next month, not next week, here and now. And in the face of over 400 laws that have been introduced in the last year to restrict voting rights in Florida and in Texas, in Iowa and in Georgia, all across the country, we know the stakes couldn't be higher. So to our colleagues in the Senate, we simply say that the eyes of the world are on you. The world is watching. The country is watching. And the Congressional Black Caucus is watching. We hope you will do the right thing.
Good afternoon. I'm Mondaire Jones, representing New York's 17th Congressional District. Our democracy is in crisis. The insurrection at the Capitol on January 6th of 2021 told us so. And now the same party that incited that violent attempted overthrow of the federal government because of the deep unpopularity of its policies is seeking to disenfranchise large swaths of the American electorate, chief among them Black and brown voters. There is a way to stop that from happening. We must pass Joe Manchin's Freedom to Vote Act and the John R. Lewis Voting Rights Advancement Act. We are faced with an existential question about whether we will have representative government for we, the people, moving into this upcoming year. And the answer can be yes, but only if we use the limited time we have available to us, only if we use the power that the American people have given to us to secure the fundamental right to vote. We know that voting rights are preservative of all other rights, and nothing comes close to being as important, certainly not a filibuster of accidental origin that has been weaponized to block the same kinds of civil rights legislation that we are simply trying to enact into law today. This is legislation that was previously non-controversial in the early 2000s. I remember marching with the NAACP in Washington, D.C. as a young activist to reauthorize the original Voting Rights Act, which was done unanimously in the Senate. When does that ever happen? And nearly unanimously in this chamber. And so we have got to do the right thing, and we have got to prevail upon, with the help of the President of the United States, who has endorsed filibuster reform, Senators Manchin and Sinema, to rise to this occasion and to make an exception for the purpose of saving our ailing democracy. Thank you.
Hello, I'm Congresswoman Lisa Blunt Rochester. I represent the state of Delaware. I'm the last of the 1 minutes. And it's really hard. It is unbelievable that we are standing here. Today, the Congressional Black Caucus is here to say the time is now. I was fortunate yesterday to travel with the Georgia delegation, so many members of the Congressional Black Caucus, Terry Sewell, and our chairwoman, Joyce Beatty, who has exhibited incredible leadership and has shown the country that the CBC, all of us, will stand up and fight, even go to jail for voting rights. I was honored to hear our president and our vice president, the first woman, the first African American and Asian American, speak about the urgency of now, but as unequivocally talk about January, how they did with January 6th, talk about how high the stakes are. And I think everybody here pretty much summed it up. It is about access, people having access to the ballot, which Martin Luther King talked about. Give us the ballot. It's about suppression and trying to stop people from getting water on a voting line when they're just trying to exercise that right. And it's about subversion, stealing elections. We are the conscience of the Congress, the Congressional Black Caucus. And many of you have seen, I carried this scarf on day one. I carried it the day of the insurrection. I carried it to Atlanta. It is from Georgia. It was the oath that allowed my ancestor to have the right to vote. It took brave people to stand up and vote to end slavery. The reality is, had there not been courage before, we would not be standing here. And so today, we say to the members of the Senate to pass the John Robert Lewis Voting Rights Advancement Act, to pass the Freedom to Vote Act, to know that this is not just about a policy, this is about our entire democracy, our way of life. I'm proud to be a member of the Congressional Black Caucus, and I'm proud to say this is our power and this is our message to the Senate. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you to all of my colleagues. We will take a few questions, but let me just say thank you to my colleagues. It's always the right time to do what's right. The fierce urgency of now. And one last one from Martin Luther King. Doesn't matter where you stand in the time of comfort and convenience, but it is the actions that you take during a time of challenges and controversy. It is the time now, Senate, to take that action. Elected officials, don't hide. Don't not support voting rights and then dare to celebrate King's birthday. Stand with us. We'll take questions as I ask Sheila Jackson Lee and Kwesi Fume to join me at the podium. Are there any questions? And we'll ask you to monitor the questions for a timing.
Madam Chair, as a caucus as a whole, what are you doing? Have you had any direct conversations with Senators Manchin and are you doing anything as a caucus to put additional pressure on them? Secondly, I be here tomorrow. Do you think that can change hearts and minds beyond earlier this week? If these bills fail again?
We were just listening to members of the Congressional Black Caucus speaking out about voting rights. Congressman Jim Clyburn discussing the lack of support from Senator Joe Manchin, that's a familiar name, even when it comes to his own bill, urging Congress to pass both voting rights, the Freedom to Vote and the John Lewis Voting Rights Act, to pass it. Congresswoman Terry Sewell of Alabama saying there can be no celebration without legislation, echoing the words of Martin Luther King Jr.'s family, telling Americans not to celebrate the holiday next week. Going on to say justice delayed is justice denied. BNC Live will continue to follow this for you and bring you any new updates when it comes to passing voting rights legislation. We'll be right back.